right, and we're back.
From where?
We're just back.
So like we're back from a commercial break.
All right.
We're back from the stove.
I had like an opening, like an actual opening, like I thought of like last week.
This is probably the best opening we've had, honestly.
It'd be cool if you like said it or something, Jose.
Yeah, if I could remember it. All right, here we go. That was it. That was the opening. So this week we watched Community. I had the peeps watch 3 episodes. I chose these episodes specifically just because I felt like you could watch them without having to maybe have seen like a season or really know a whole lot about the show. They're also just some of my favorite episodes. And I don't know, to me, Community I've watched since I think season 2. Not sure when that debuted, but I was in high school, I think. And I just thought it was like a really funny, different show from all the other sitcoms at the time. And it still holds up, at least in my opinion. And so now that it's on Netflix, you know, I wanted you guys to be exposed to it if you haven't already and see if maybe you've liked it and we're willing to kind of like stick with it and watch the show. So I'm going to go ahead and roll a die, and we're going to see whose turn it's going to be to say something. So,
please don't.
All
do
right.
that.
Do you actually have a die?
No.
Damn it.
You think you came that prepared? That'd
You
be
learned
cool,
nothing.
That would be sick, dude. That would
though.
be awesome.
You think I was going to create different timelines? No.
Maybe there'll be one where the podcast is good.
Fuck.
It's a joke.
That's actually the darkest timeline.
We're living in it.
I think I read
This
that,
is the
that
darkest.
the die in the episode is actually like they didn't have a die. It's all computer generated.
I figured. I don't know.
That's funny.
I thought they actually tossed a die up and then it actually went through one of those little holes above their heads.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Went
all
to the
real.
space-time continuum.
Yeah.
Way to fucking ruin the show for me, Nick.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I mean, we're on... Okay, I guess we already brought this episode, so we don't have to go episode by episode, but I think that episode specifically made one of, like, the best memes, where it's Donald Glover walking
Oh my
into
God.
the apartment.
Yeah. It was on fire and just...
I've seen, like,
Yeah.
I've seen that meme so much, like, in this year. Like, every month when something new has been happening, it's just, like... going into the new month of 2020, it's just the meme of Donald Glover walking into the thing on fire.
You could say about just every individual month
Yeah.
this year
Honestly.
since like March. I didn't see that. I didn't realize that was where this episode was until like right before when like Donald Glover was about to come up with the pizza. I was watching with Logan. I was like, oh shit, dude, they're about to do the thing. They're about to do the meme. Oh shit.
We're watching history right now.
This is a very important cultural artifact we're
Honestly.
witnessing.
Must be preserved.
Cultural reset.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed how they I don't know, they structured that whole episode. All of them really were just really unique, and I can see how they're your favorite episodes of the series, for sure. And that the after credit scene was fucking hilarious. I love that they like continued that like worst timeline out a whole ton.
Yeah, where it shows like Jeff without his arm.
Without his arm. And,
Yeah, the consequences of it all.
what's his face is dead, and they're getting ready for his funeral.
Pierce.
Pierce.
Yeah.
Pierce,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm fucking awful with names. I'm sorry.
And poor Britta with that
The blue
fucking
streak.
blue in her hair.
that was so funny to me. Because I felt like they all were going through something so traumatic, and this Britta with a blue fucking streak. It's great.
It's
I think that
really
episode,
the worst case scenario.
that episode specifically, I think is one of the reasons why I really like the show, is because they do these things where they get really ambitious and have this like idea that probably wouldn't work with any other show. Like if you wanted to do something like that, I guess maybe Rick and Morty now, but at the time, I don't think a sitcom could, really get away with doing stuff like that, where they just have 6 different scenarios and, kind of elaborate on it. And I don't know. at the time I thought it was really refreshing, and like I said, it's like almost like a self-contained episode where you could probably just drop in on it, never have seen the show before and still get, a good half hour of entertainment, I think. So I really like that episode a lot. I also really like the Dungeons and Dragons episode a lot for the exact same reason, to where I feel like it's a good bottle episode. You can kind of just drop in, and especially like where they do the introductions in the beginning, they kind of like do a really quick intro to all the characters, so just in case if you aren't familiar with them, they have like the briefest of descriptions for them that can kind of give you a hint of what they're like, and they kind of just hit the ground running. That episode, just in general, the way it's written is just really well structured. It did the setup, and then they go right into it, and it's really, really funny, I think.
Yeah, I think I actually did a little like research on that episode because it just like really impressed me. I didn't know that. Who are the directors for the show that did like the Avengers, the most recent Avengers movies?
Brothers.
The Russo brothers, yeah. That they like directed, I think, a bunch of these episodes for Community, and just like I think that episode it was pretty much shot in one room. It was the majority of the episode, and there was just they did a lot of cool stuff with like the sound design. I could tell when they're in the game. And just some interesting stuff with like the camera movements just to make it seem more dramatic, even though they're just describing, a D&D game in a community college library. So I think that just really made it a lot more immersive and enjoyable to watch for sure.
Yeah, I love the line of like, and so they described themselves walking.
Yeah.
And Abed confirmed that they walked.
Yeah.
That shit's so funny. Yeah. No, I didn't even really think about that. Maybe Steven should have got the film degree. 'Cause fucking yeah, it really is like all in that one room, and like it's like very, very subtle, the like little music choices and stuff like that, and like I like now that I'm thinking about it, like all the Pegasus noises and like the dragon blah blah blah.
Yeah, there's like an arrow sound when Chang got hit.
Yeah,
and he reacts to
I think you mean Brutalitops, the magician.
I feel like watching that episode, because I had never watched Community before this. I mean, I'd seen episodes here and there, but I like started on the beginning of the series, just like I'll watch the first couple episodes and then I'll get into it. And then I watched like 10 episodes of season 1 before I actually watched the 3 for today, which I just watched like an hour ago. But I feel like because I watched those other episodes, it was really easy to hear the differences between those episodes and this one, and just how much like the way the acting was a little different and a little played up, and just like like the camera work, the angles that they used, the sound and everything, which was really, I don't know, it's interesting to see how well it worked when the other episodes are shot very much like just a normal sitcom, kind of, not like necessarily like a normal like older sitcom, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it's, I don't know what else to fucking say about it. It was funny.
Yeah,
I think like sorry. I was gonna say, I think the one thing that like Community really has going for it, and like the thing that like makes people sort of remember it, are these like event episodes. Because you're right, of like most of the episodes are just like kind of shot in like a sitcom style, and like the characters are like kind of like, they're kind of zany, they're kind of goofy, like a lot of them are just like not how actual real people would act, so it's like it still feels like a television show, but like these ones especially feel like there's like, I don't know, like a lot of effort being put into it, of just like trying to be creative and trying to like do stuff, like for Modern Warfare, that like became sort of a recurring thing. There's like I think 2 more seasons where they do like paintball episodes, and like each one is like themed differently, and it's like, it's just kind of cool. I like I think it's called A Fistful of Paintballs is like the second season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Paintball episode. Yeah. And that one's like all Western themed, and that one's pretty neat too. That's cool. If you get a chance to watch it.
Modern Warfare was directed by, he did I think the past 4 Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah,
Really?
Justin Lin, I think.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
And he did
Yeah.
Star Trek
Yeah.
Beyond.
Yeah, so he's like
Wild.
Which is impressive.
an action just director now. A lot of these people are now really successful, and like people like, let's see, obviously Donald Glover went on to do really big things and became very successful
Like what?
And break his foot.
and broke his foot when we saw him on
We won't get
concert.
into it though.
We already did last week.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Joe and Anthony Russo, the Russo brothers, eventually they also worked on Arrested Development. They worked on this
Really?
show too, and
I
then
didn't
they
know that.
went ahead and did Avengers, and big projects for Marvel and stuff like that. So that's who was the composer? I always butcher his name. Ludwig Göransson, I think is how it's pronounced.
Oh yeah.
Who obviously won the Oscar for Black Panther. Also, did music with Donald Glover. And just recently scored Christopher Nolan's new movie Tenet, which who knows when
He
we're
scored
gonna see.
Tenet?
Yep, he did.
I did not know that. Holy shit.
You're
But
telling
who
me that
knows?
Chris Nolan didn't
Maybe one day
go
we'll be able to see it.
with Hans Zimmer?
Oh yeah, that too.
Well,
Hey, fuck Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer's working on Dune, so he had a
That's true.
yeah. So
Yeah, I forgot.
but we won't get into that. But yeah, just people that worked on this show, and even like the actors. I know Alison Brie, has her own Netflix show that's supposed to be really good. Gillian Jacobs did a lot more work as well. Gillian, yeah, that's the one. And then just Dan Harmon obviously went on to go ahead and do Rick and Morty. So it's like these group of people that maybe weren't so well known or well established at the time that did something and worked on something that's I think is really great, and then moved on from it and made their own kind of stuff. So it's kind of crazy how many talented people worked on this show, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's so great. But yeah, I think to touch back on like the paintball episode and like how Tyler said, these characters can be pretty zany, but I think it takes it up like to a whole nother level with like even Greendale, like the community college is almost like a character, like really zany, really over the top. The students that, also attend there can be really weird and
Pop.
and are very, very memorable. And that's what I like about them too. Like even the side characters that you maybe get like 10 seconds of screen time an episode, sometimes just like their brief line or like the joke that they make is so memorable and it sticks with you.
Give it a rest, Britta. That's the best line in Modern Warfare. Not enough
Honestly.
Dean.
Dean.
Well, yeah, all these episodes were kind of lacking in Dean,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
He's only in Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
they were.
There's some,
lacking.
Pretty
there's some
fucked up.
good Dean episodes.
I also think like these episodes didn't have a whole lot of like Abed being Abed, if that makes sense. Because if you've seen this show, Abed's really
Yeah.
he's really different. I guess to say the very
The
least.
introduction in Dungeons and Dragons episode was they called him Abed the Undiagnosable.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I felt like maybe like those episodes didn't have a whole lot of Abed to where he really shined through and you really got how weird and kind of quirky he is. I think I don't know. I think the one, it's not even like a joke. It's just like at the very beginning of the Chaos Theory episode where they open the door and Abed is making that like really weird forced smile.
Yeah.
It always gets me. I don't know why. It's just so weird, but it's so great. And there's just so many good jokes just throughout these 3 episodes are so, at least in my opinion, very, very quotable.
It's also just a lot of hidden stuff. Like, what was one? Oh, the character Hector the Well Endowed, was meant for Troy, and Hector was like in history as a notable hero of the city Troy.
Oh,
Yeah, I read
shit.
that today. So they do a lot of like buried. Apparently in Chaos Theory, the what drink does Pierce bring? He brings like vodka or something,
Hmm.
and in Cyrillic it just like the bottle has Cyrillic lettering on it, and in Cyrillic it just says like generic alcohol or something like that.
Good.
Incredible.
That's funny.
They
And there was one other. Apparently the I think Dungeons and Dragons. What is it? The fourth or third episode of the season? Do you remember?
Dungeons and Dragons
Fourth.
is the 14th episode.
Wait,
Or-
I think you're
of the
thinking
season.
of Chaos Theory is the 4th episode of season,
No, I'm talking about.
but
Oh, I know what it was. Yeah, in Dungeons and Dragons, they reference something that happened in like season. In that season, the third and fourth episode were showed out of order, and there's like on the chalkboard, there's a bunch of writing about it.
huh.
Oh, now that I'm thinking about it, it was Chaos Theory because at the beginning they go, Britta and Annie ask like, was it 303 or 304 talking about their apartment number, and that was a dig at earlier in the season that episodes 3 and 4 were shown in reverse order.
Oh.
That's kind of funny.
This show is
There's
also
a-
very meta.
Yeah, Dan Harmon like brings it even out. There's a community reference in Rick and Morty where it's when Rick is on the planet with like Unity, and he's like, okay, like she like made a TV show for me and I can do whatever I want, and now cancel it, now bring it back, now make them all have sex with each other or something like that, and then which big spoilers I guess, not really, but yeah, because it gets like canceled. And Community had like a weird like run,
It
I
did.
think, where like Dan Harmon left for a season and no one really kind of likes that season. I think
Was
it's
that
4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then 5 comes back, but I think that's the one that was on Yahoo.
Yahoo.
No, the last
Yahoo
season was.
Stream.
No, is it the last one? Oh,
The
okay,
last
okay.
season was,
It was the last season. Okay, yeah.
which you can tell.
Yeah, yeah. Now that I think about it, I honestly, like, probably not even an unpopular opinion. Like, I'm sure everyone shares this thought that like has seen the show, but like the episode that Troy leaves is like usually where I stop my rewatches.
Yeah. Season 5, that's season 5 that happens.
Yeah.
But what's funny is there are, at least in my opinion, like there's some pretty notable good episodes of season 5. Like they started to kind of get back on track, I think, but
Mhm.
then unfortunately he left, and it kind of, well, he left in the 5th episode, but
Mm.
like there's another Dungeons and Dragons episode in that season actually. But yeah. 6 is not good.
I refuse to watch without Troy.
I mean, if you're like gonna watch it your first time through, like I would say to like finish it out. It's like worth it.
Yeah.
But after that, just kind of
Yeah, the
Watch
show
whatever you
definitely
want.
loses its edge towards the end. But you can't really blame it all too much because, like what Tyler said, it's like it got canceled, it got back on. Dan Harmon left, and then the character started leaving, so it's kind of hard to just watch it because it was so good in the beginning, and now it doesn't have the ability to just stay that good. That being said, I do feel like even after Troy leaves, there are still some like really good, genuine like moments that are hilarious, and I think all the other characters are also really great. Like I really like Abed and Jeff and the Dean. How could you not like the Dean? The Dean is so fucking
well, I'm a peanut
hilarious.
bar. I'm here to say
So
That's
there's-
that's in season 5.
Yeah, so there's
Really?
there's
Oh,
still some
yeah,
good
okay.
moments. There's still some. I mean, no, granted they're far between, few and far between a little bit, but that's not to say that the show is just complete shit after it. But it's just hard to, because you want to compare it to what it was, and it's hard not to, and so you're just like,
Yeah.
well, it used to be so good. But yeah, I think it's unfair. Community definitely had a rough run where it just didn't have a whole, like a big fan base to begin with. It had like a cult following, but that wasn't enough to kind of keep it on the air. And also I think it like aired with like those big sitcoms. Like it aired with like while The Office and Parks and Rec and 30 Rock were on the air. So, you know, a whole lot of people didn't. I feel like people that like those shows may not like Community, and maybe that's why I had like a rough run, because it was just in between those blocks of shows. But honestly, I think like at its best, Community is better than those shows. And that's just like for me. Yeah. I think it's more ambitious, it's fresh, it's different, and it's hilarious all at the same time. And it makes it seem so effortlessly. But I don't know. I really like this show, and like I think it deserved better. It kind of makes me sad to think about it, but it's okay.
People that like Community that haven't watched Arrested Development should watch seasons 1 through 3 of Arrested Development. Because it's on par with I love Arrested Development, and it's very on par with kind of the different narrative like tricks it plays like Community does. But once Netflix picked it up, it's just not even worth watching.
No,
it's not good. Just watch to season 3, because it pretty much quote unquote ends in season 3 in a place that it's like you don't have to keep watching you're not missing anything.
Like you'll be satisfied.
Yeah,
where's my resolution?
You'll be unsatisfied if you do what I did and try to start watching the rest, because it's very challenging.
Good to know. Yeah, I definitely heard really good things about Arrested Development.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's a great show.
I think this is definitely gonna make me want to dive into more Community also, because I think I watched like the first season of it like 5 years or so ago. I just like binged watched it in a day, and I enjoyed it. I just never like got around to diving back into it. But yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed the homework this week.
Oh yeah.
The rest of y'all need to take some notes.
Wait a minute.
Shit was whack.
What?
What? I didn't say anything.
Yeah, Tyler, your shit was whack.
My shit was not whack.
Oh,
his homework, whack.
I have a question
His
about
podcast.
about the Chaos Theory episode.
Yeah.
Because like the end credit scene sort of with oh gosh, it's like Abed and Troy, and they're like sitting there watching TV, and Abed is just kind of like, something's wrong. Do they ever come back to that at all, or is it just kind of like they just leave it?
No,
is there any more
with
the?
They come back multiple times. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
They have a lot of running jokes in this show.
Yeah. No, they return to it.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
I guess I'll have to watch it now.
Yeah.
No.
It's forced my hand.
I watch this good TV
Did
show.
you guys have
did it,
like
Jose.
any favorite jokes that like you're just like, oh, that
the
was so
entire scene where Annie describes to Abed how Hector the Well Endowed gets the Pegasus flock.
That was fucking
I fucking died. Dude. He's just like, his hands up in the air. It's like, oh.
Yeah, but the scene ends and it cuts over to Troy, like writing down notes and looking up and down. I love it.
I spoon with her the appropriate amount of time, and before I leave. And how long is that?
I think mine from that episode is where, who is it? I think Jeff says, can you just ask him how we get Pegasus? And then Abed's like, Pegasus, a word I know in every language. And then just cuts to Jeff, like, pissed the fuck off. That was so funny. I don't know.
Is it like, I mean, I guess maybe that's like spoiler-esque, but just because I did watch like the first chunk of season 1, so I already had a feel for the characters and what they're like. It was a little weird, like jumping to, so I watched Modern Warfare first, and then I immediately jumped to Chaos Theory because it was also on Netflix, and I was like, I'll watch the 2 on Netflix first, and then I'll come back to Dungeons and Dragons. And there was like, obviously in the Modern Warfare one, I was like, yeah, they're playing it up, but they still seem very in character. But then when I jumped to Chaos Theory, I was like, they seem in character, but they seem very like slightly
Yeah.
different. Like the way the way Britta was acting partially was, you know, explained away because she was like, yeah, I'm high as fuck. But I was just like, Britta is not acting very Britta, and then what's going on between Jeff and Annie, but I was like, I don't know
That's
stuff.
the one thing that I was like, oh man, like Chaos Theory is kind of spoilery, but not really.
It's more,
there's
yeah.
definitely,
It's like picking up an ongoing joke again.
Yeah, there's like little moments where like things that kind of like happen where there is like character development and like certain people's like relationships develop
Yeah.
in ways that like would be spoilers, I guess, to explain, but like it's mostly episodic, but there's like little things that sort of tie like the series along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
that's
also
fine.
thought that episode was kind of the weirdest to me in that, not the concept, but the way that everyone was acting felt off.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
like, especially Britta, which, I mean, I hadn't even really thought that it was due to her being high, because anytime the pizza would come in and she'd like
do the
weird
fucking
walk,
that
yeah.
weird
dance,
thing,
dude,
I
that
was
shit
like,
was so weird.
is very,
it's
like, out of character, and I don't know. Just, I know that some of it is chalked up to, well, it's a different timeline, so obviously they're different, but there was just other parts where just everyone felt kind of weird in that episode, to where it I don't know, it didn't feel, it seemed like they felt uncomfortable, but I don't know.
There was too much sexual tension in the room.
Yeah, I guess so.
They just
True.
needed to relieve themselves.
This
Yeah.
is all.
Like in Modern Warfare.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, speaking of sexual tension, I think, like,
Oh yeah, we even
God.
talked about that.
one of the things that I like about this show is that how it also just approaches tropes. And
True.
I think one of the things I like about Modern Warfare is that the two main characters, you know, Britt and Jeff, pretty much like sleep together. And it's how this show starts. Like, that was his end goal and why he started this study group. And the fact that, like, in a normal sitcom, I guess they would play it out, you know, and drag it on to where it's like, oh, will they? Won't they? Oh, they did it. What's gonna happen now? Because you see that happen like a lot of the times. And in this show, season 1, they sleep together, and then nothing comes of it, really. I mean, I guess they acknowledge it and like do some stuff with it, but that's it. You know, it was something that they really could have, you know, dragged along for a couple more seasons, but they're just like, nah, fuck it. You know, there's more important things to do and more interesting things to do on this show than just, you know, kind of fall into that trope. And I think that's also why I really like this show. And also they also do like homages to like a whole lot of movie stuff, and they make fun of it too at the same time while like appreciating the genre or like the style of movie. They do a Law and Order episode too, later down the line that I really really like. I don't know. I think it's
That's another season 5.
yeah. Also, that's right. It's season 5. But yeah, I think it's when they get really ambitious and do things like that where it's peak Community. It's at its best. Not to say that when it's
There's
not
a
doing that, it's
claymation
not good.
episode even.
That's true.
Yeah, there's a claymation
And an
episode.
animated. Just like
Yeah.
a cartoon animation.
Oh, that's
They
right.
do some really like
okay,
that.
yeah.
That's the most impressive thing to me of like how varied it is, because like they could have just made it they could have made a trope of, okay, at the end of every season there's a paintball episode,
Mhm.
but they usually I feel like Dan Harmon and I forgot the writer's name, Chris McKenna, I think it is,
I think.
or something, but like you can tell they were thoughtful about it of, okay, let's do something, what can we try this season that's interesting.
Yeah. No, they definitely do that. That's how actually this Dungeons and Dragons episode came to be. Dan Harmon just really wanted to do an episode about Dungeons and Dragons, and they were just like, how can we do that and fit it into the show? And they just kind of sat in their writer's room and, you know, built around the idea of Dungeons and Dragons and came up with one of the best episodes in the show. So I think it's just, I think it's good.
with a really
like
good message too.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
Anti-bullying, which is especially important this week, and well, that and like talking about suicide, which both topics were kind of big online this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like before that was something that became more mainstream, I guess, or more popular. Now it's more common, as it should be. Talking about like mental health and all that kind of good stuff. So, shit. When did this episode air? I don't even
The show
know.
started in 2009.
I
So
believe that
it
episode was
would've been like
2011.
2010, 2011.
Oh, 2011.
Yeah, it's ahead of its time. I don't know.
Before
It's a
everyone got on
really
the
good
PC
show.
bandwagon.
Yeah, and that's the one that gets taken off of Netflix.
Yeah.
Look, all I'm gonna say is I fucking cried.
Jesus.
That was
It was so fucking bad.
I attack him. I attack Blackface.
And it was funny because it was kind of subtle, but I think when Pierce came in, he was like, "Oh, look at he said
Hal Joseph.
Yeah, Hal Joseph," and I had to like look up who that was, and it was like the king of blackface.
Yeah.
And there was some, it was just they were very aware of what they were doing.
Sound.
Yeah.
I just the way that
jazz-
Shirley brought it up was just the.
We're just gonna ignore that hate crime.
I just loved it.
I
mean, I understand why.
I also-
but like, holy shit.
Yeah. I feel like it almost was a joke about like the fantasy genre too, of like,
It is, yeah.
it is kind of weird how the dark skinned characters are like the evil ones, right?
Yeah.
I don't
No, it was.
And-
it definitely was a critique of fantasy
Yeah.
genre.
And so I don't know. I didn't want to like talk too much about it, but I thought we should like
Address
At
it.
least
like literally,
Also, he's
literally
the-
the day.
Also, he's the first person killed in the episode.
yeah.
Thank God.
Like the day that you told us to watch these, Jose, like a few hours before is when they took it off of Netflix, and then a few hours after that, Hulu took it down.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's not on Netflix. It's okay. Hulu has it. And then Hulu was just like,
Oh,
thought.
Now they can take down these racism things all they want, but if they don't put a bacon, lettuce, tomato on their fucking
Dude, that was such a good troll because I just like didn't even think about it. I was like, wow, that's really stupid. How'd they do that? Oh my god, dude.
That is the
It's
real
like-
structural change we need in America. Is the
Lesson
bacon,
is,
lettuce,
make sure you
tomato.
look up your facts before you believe it.
Yes, no,
Oh my
you're right. Well, like,
God.
it wasn't even that I like just blindly believed it. I was just like, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, that's so stupid and whatever, and I moved on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of
I
those.
guess it's the same thing as
my
believing it.
It's one of the things where just like everything that's going on is so crazy, and like satire is so hard to do now because you're like, oh, that can't be real, and then you look it up on the news, like, oh my god,
Yeah,
that's real.
like when they did the whole like painting like Black Lives Matter on streets and stuff, I thought that was satire at first. I was like, that's fucking stupid. What does that do? And then I was like, oh wait, that's real.
This is real life. Yeah.
God,
Nice,
So-
nice meme, guys. Oh, that was so funny. Oh wait, that's real. Cool.
I don't know. Yeah, it kind of makes you like, maybe they shouldn't, not that they shouldn't, but maybe they should do more than just take down old episodes of television that are racially insensitive and do more about it.
It would be
But-
cool if they
Uh,
would come back and like have a thing at the beginning where even like Dan Harmon himself addresses like why he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there was like a reason, or if even if there wasn't, for him to like address like this was like a while back ago, but here's why it's been
Yeah.
taken down and put back, and here's the lesson you learn from it.
Yeah, because I know there was an episode of Mad Men that they were trying to take down, and they actually kept it, and they just put a disclaimer in the beginning of the episode, for the same reason, because of blackface, and they were like, "Hey, this show takes place like in the 1950s or 60s. I don't know, I haven't watched it," and they're like, "If you remember, people were pretty racist back then, so this is kind of why there's blackface."
I don't remember that.
in
I
this
really do not
episode.
remember.
They did a similar
these.
thing with Gone with the Wind on HBO.
Okay.
Yeah,
Everyone did
they like
what
took
was-
it down, and then they're having a, I don't know if they put it back up yet, but they're having a, I think a professor of culture who is a woman of color, she's going to like have an intro
Mhm.
to like kind of put things in perspective, because like like there is a black actress in the movie who was the first woman, or I think first person of color to win an Oscar.
Yeah, I think so.
Like there are things that need to be talked about in it, but they need to give like more context than just having it.
They can't just be like, aha, blackface.
Yeah. Well, there was even like an episode of Golden Girls where Betty White and I guess her co-star had like a mud mask on, and they took that down. They were just like, well, better to be safe than sorry. I was just like, I don't know. I feel like at this point, yeah, I feel like that's almost too much, right? Like, I don't know.
I've heard the word performative used.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of just like these companies are just like making a show of this, which is like kind of like in Netflix's case, I feel like sometimes I see stuff on their social media of like they're really like trying to pursue like women and minority like creators to like have their content up, and so I'm like, okay, cool, Netflix, and then it's just like there's these like little performative things.
Like, why are
just
you
like,
doing that if you're
we
doing
took it down, we did it.
good,
Yeah.
like you're taking
We beat
actual
racism.
good steps, but then
Yeah.
there's like, I don't know. I feel like because I know some people when they're not black. Hey, by the way, I'm black. They feel like divided on this, but they're like, well, I guess it's good that they care, but it's like anybody should be able to look at that episode of Community and be like, oh, that's not racist. Like, they're not trying to be they literally address it. They literally tear it down in the episode immediately as soon as you see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's out of the episode. Like, that clearly is not like a herder, let's get racist in here. Like, you know, it's pretty easy to see that. So it makes you kind of question, like, well, not question, because Tyler basically explained why they do it. So fucking performative, still, they look better, but it's like that's a waste of time. Like, use that time where you're taking episodes of shows people love off Netflix and like actually just keep doing what you're doing and helping, like, creators who need help and whatever words.
Yeah. I also think it's just, I mean, it's easy, which I guess is kind of ties into why they choose the performative route, and it's just, it's hard to like start a conversation around something like that and explain, why it's not that bad and why they're actually like, why it's satire, how it's satire.
Yeah.
And they definitely rather just take the easy route of like, oh, we're not racist, we took it down, it's not good, it's bad, we did a bad. And so it's just
that has less of a chance to backfire too, because
if
you
they like
try to defend it, then people who don't understand what you're saying will come at you like full force, and is like, that's not deserved. Like, I'm sure if they tried to explain away that episode, there would be people who would be like, how fucking dare you racist pigs. And but
you don't want to be on the wrong side of that argument.
There's no reason to put yourself in that situation. So like, I kind of get it, but at the same time, if you just left it up and didn't do anything, you'd probably be chilling. You might have like one or two people make a Facebook post about it, and people would be like, are you stupid? You'd be fine.
Have you guys seen Tropic Thunder?
I've not.
Yes.
I was thinking about that earlier this week. I was like, is it up anywhere? And it's not. It was at one point on Netflix, but I think it's not on Netflix anymore for like distribution reasons, not like anything of this. But all right, I'm just gonna say it. That's probably one of the best comedies in like the last 10 years. That is a very good movie.
Jose and Logan made me watch that a couple weeks back. It's an incredible movie for sure.
It is, but there's, I guess, blackface in it. I say I guess there is. It's what it is.
There definitely is. Yes,
but it is satire. Like, they like the actual black guy like talk shit about him like the entire movie. about that. And so
It's
yeah,
also-
like in the same situation, like they like it's obviously satire if you like actually like pay attention to what they're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
It's
very,
contextualized properly.
yeah, but that is definitely more overt blackface for sure.
Yeah.
Even just
I think-
visually though, it's less offensive. It's not really, because like if you like, as someone who's never seen the movie, whenever I see fucking, it's Robert Downey Jr. Right?
It's Robert Downey
yeah.
Jr.
Whenever I
That's
see
fucking
him,
Iron Man.
Yeah, whenever I see him in like Tropic Thunder, I'm like, yeah, like it genuinely looks like they tried to make him look like a black person. It doesn't look like, because blackface,
A
the whole point is
caricature.
it's a caricature that's
Yeah.
meant
Yeah.
to exemplify like racist features and stereotypes. But they literally just were like, yeah, we're gonna make him look like an actual real life black person. So it's a little.
Do you know like what the character
Yeah.
I know
is supposed to
literally
be,
nothing.
Jason?
I know nothing.
Okay.
So like his character is actually an Australian actor who's like a method actor, and the character gets cosmetic surgery to become like a black man pretty much to play this role. So like I think like the like what Steven was saying, like the way they contextualize it, or maybe it was Nick that said that, but is like it's not like the joke isn't like haha he's black. The joke is like this method actor is doing actual blackface and he's just like getting away with it.
yeah, it's method acting. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's method acting
Instead of them just
and also just
casting
like
a
the
black
idea
person.
of exactly the idea of the studio being like, oh, we need these big name actors to sell the movie. It's also like a really good like
Critique of
just like
Hollywood.
yeah, exactly, like critique of like the studio system and like everything like that. Dude,
Which
how
that was
does-
the
how
whole
does Ben
movie.
Stiller? Yeah, the entire movie makes fun of it. How does Ben Stiller make that, and then he also makes like fucking Night at the Museum 2?
I don't know.
Look, he's got range, man.
Cinematic
The
masterpiece.
Oh man.
I don't know. Tropic Thunder is definitely one of my favorite comedies. If you guys haven't seen it, I recommend seeing it. And if you have seen it, I recommend seeing it again. Because it just, to me, it doesn't get old. I think it's hilarious, and I think it's genius the way it critiques stuff like that. But yeah, I think for things like this, with what's going on recently, I think context and intent are like two very important things to kind of keep in mind.
All right, so what is the title of this episode going to be? We just justify blackface for a half hour?
Alright, I'm off the podcast.
Oh, no.
This is never going to be aired.
Hey,
We'll have to pull it down.
you gotta put it up first. And then you're gonna get
This
flagged
is the
for
episode that's
N-word.
going to cancel us.
This episode will be posted and then prominently put down.
Yeah.
We'll
the
put it on
memes.
private.
Make it only available in Africa.
This is for the Patreon users.
You can find it on Daily Motion though.
But,
Find the podcast flipped on Daily Motion.
flipped.
All our names are backwards on the title screen.
No, the audio channels are backwards.
That was god awful.
Oh. You have to put it in your DAW and reverse the audio to. There's a bunch of watermarks in it too.
For the real
You decrypted it, it's just propaganda.
Audio jungle. I don't know.
Anyway.
We were talking about this earlier today about how the Washington Redskins are supposed to or should
The
change their
Cleveland
name.
Indians
Yeah.
are also
We might change their names.
like they posted something about like moving toward a name change.
Yeah. I definitely support that for sure. And the Indians actually they had a logo, Chief Wahoo,
Jesus.
that was very racist.
Oh, yeah, it's awful.
If you
Yeah.
haven't seen it, just Google Chief Wahoo. But they got rid of that a couple years back, I think. So hopefully they'll move toward changing their name.
Yeah. They're heading in the right direction at least.
Yeah.
Well, you know, all these sports teams have a really long off season right now, so it's a chance to rebrand.
It's not like they got anything better to do.
Except the
Actually-
WWE bringing it back.
Hey, that's a good one. There you go.
He wants to put on a live event. He's like, I saw something that Vince McMahon wants to be like the first big like sports event with
They
the
had
crowd again.
With the crowd.
No, yeah.
Oh my god, that's fucking.
No, yeah, I know that they've still had their
Bad
pay-per-views,
idea.
but yeah, apparently he wants to try to be kind of the first to
Someone
Yeah,
stop
they're-
that guy.
yeah. And apparently there was one of their hosts this week tweeted how she's had COVID twice now.
Jesus.
And
God.
she tweeted about it, and this part is like rumor mill apparently, but apparently like he was not happy that she outed that, because I remember seeing there was a rumor like a few months back about there's a main cast personality in WWE who has it, but they would not say who it was at all. And then she tweeted that this week, and everyone went, "Oh, that was her."
Yeah, no.
Thanks.
Kind
Vince.
of, somewhat similarly. The Major League Baseball is coming back in like a month. They just announced that, and they were like talking about how, oh, we're gonna have this like separate injured list for players that have gotten COVID. There's all these measures to make sure that when they come back, if they do get COVID, that they are like healthy and not contaminating everyone else, and it's all gonna be confidential. And all of the roster moves in the MLB are like publicized, like teams like post them, and like the first day that like the roster moves were open, these teams were just like, oh yeah, these 6 guys are on the 10-day injured list for reasons we're not going to talk about.
Oh my god.
Good.
Everyone's just
one.
like,
That's real.
okay,
good.
so you're saying people have COVID, so
God,
it's
yeah.
just there's so much dumb shit happening right now.
I can't
You would
imagine
think that
like
they would just like. You think that they would just like have remove the categories for the injured list? That you're just like, oh, they're on the injured list now for whatever, but just not specify it, just to keep their medical history like private. I don't know. It just seems strange.
Some HIPAA shit.
Well,
I
they
can't
did-
imagine like baseball coming back, which any sport, I mean, obviously you're like sweating and spitting, but I feel like baseball more than any, like players are usually like they have like sunflower seeds or they're like spitting in the dugout.
Well, you're not
And
allowed to do
it's
any
like-
of that.
You're gonna have to chill with that.
Well, they
Yeah,
made rules where you
they
can't
banned
spit,
that.
you can't spit or do anything like that.
No
If
spitting.
you're not in the field, like players have to social distance, like in the stands, and there's no fans allowed.
Yeah.
And like,
I think they're doing something similar with the NHL. I think they're
Mm.
making like a centralized like place to play,
Mm.
and they're just gonna play like I guess they're gonna play all games out of that like one location and try to, or it might be just like a few locations just to try to prevent so much travel.
yeah, I think it's like 2 cities in Canada. I think it's like
Hmm.
I want to say like Edmonton and Calgary. I want to say.
Yeah.
Damn.
But yeah, it's definitely a lot of just weird, just different labor negotiations that are having to go on above like pay, which is just fucking health, all these fucking health risks right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's crazy.
Imagine having COVID fucking twice.
Honestly,
Like, what's
I
the
can't.
timeline
That'd
for
be
that?
awful,
That's
dude.
awful.
I've heard some people be like, "Well, I've had it once, so I'm never gonna get it again."
Like,
It's
that's
I'm in
Not
the
how
clear. I'm just
illness
like,
works.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was
Have you
like,
ever had the flu more than once?
I was talking
Why would
to my
you let-
parents about it, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I know, like, when you get the flu, when you're still coming down from it, you're not gonna just turn around and get the flu again immediately. Like, you're chilling for like a little bit. It's not like a long time,
There's a cool down.
but you're not like, you don't just fucking get the flu again right after you had it, like literally days after you recovered. But it was like, I don't know how the fuck this works. Like, what if you literally like, yep, you did your 2 weeks, now it's all possible again, idiot. Like, what is this?
It's also it's just we just don't know a lot about it and how it works and how good our bodies at fighting it off again with how the antibodies work and whatever. So,
Yeah, I saw like, I think it was Oxford. That's like one of the ones developing a vaccine right now, and they like very very preliminary testing has like shown that like they're able to have a vaccine that may be able to like have like 2 or 3 times the antibodies that you would get from getting it.
yeah, I saw that.
Because apparently that's not enough. Like obviously, I mean, people are getting it more than once, so like the antibodies of like that you get from having it are like sometimes not enough to just not get it again, which is why like the vaccine like really needs to fucking work.
Yeah.
They gotta like polio this shit where they have to like
Give you
because
COVID.
some people if you're immunocompromised you can't get vaccinated at all because you just risk like just getting it, I guess. And so like they just have to like vaccinate all the people possible, but then
You have anti-vaxxers.
with how stupid people are, it's like, are we gonna be able to do that? And it's just like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have you seen that
What's
shit?
my right as an American to not get vaccinated?
They shouldn't have called it
Yeah.
vaccine. They should put it in a Flintstone gummy.
Bro, I'll eat those fucking
Honestly.
I'm gonna inject this gummy
Let's
into
go,
your
dude.
arm now.
I've seen
Hell yeah.
some shit like that people legitimately believe that Bill Gates is trying to take over the world and that he's trying to do this
Well, I mean,
by
yeah.
vaccines.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
think the
makes
theory
sense.
is that he's injecting like microchips or something into vaccines and then injecting people with it to take over the world. And
Yeah.
a lot of
Oh,
people
yeah.
are very
No, that's
are
something a
very passionate
reasonable,
about that.
educated adult would believe. Yeah.
Bro, I'll get fucking microchipped if it means I'm not gonna get COVID. What? Who gives a shit? The government already fucking knows
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
about us. It doesn't matter.
They'll microchip their like trophy poodle. No problem.
Yeah, fucking
True.
shove a fucking CPU in their dog and be like, yeah, okay. Now if you
I'm
walk
just
2
like-
feet away, I'm gonna find you.
I'm just like, you have a phone on you. You're already being tracked. What do you mean?
You have a government ID. Like you're fucked, dude. You're on.
You are
the
making
grid.
this comment on your smartphone
Bro.
right now.
You know how your credit cards and debit cards mostly now have like the chip in them
Yeah.
and you like insert in the thing. There are people who are like against that because they're just like, no, that's like one step closer to
Oh
like
my
being chipped, and it's like
God.
this is like literally the same thing as swiping it. Like I don't know, I don't know, man.
Can my
Then they're gonna
chip,
know what I buy.
Can I just get an AMD chip, please?
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Chip me. I just want to be AMD. And I'll just be like
they give me
sweating.
chips,
I'll just be sweating all
can
the
I
time.
have some salsa?
Sweating all the time.
Wow.
Damn.
You're gonna go there, Nick?
Hey, I have an
You're gonna
AMD
flame
chip.
AMD?
Oh my god.
No, they're gonna flame me apparently.
Oh my.
I'd rather burst into flames than. Actually, no, never mind. I'd probably rather have COVID.
Oh man.
There's this like correspondent for the Daily Show that goes out to Trump rallies and like interviews them. And if you haven't
I've seen
seen
Eric
it,
Andre.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah.
I want you to fuck my wife.
Oh fuck.
God.
Oh. So I realize this podcast is like all over the place, but I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen clips of Legalize Everything, Eric Andre's like stand-up
I need to
special, and I
watch
really
it.
want to watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
The fucking trailer, he has this joke about cops and like the way that the theme song to Cops is like a reggae song, and I was like thinking about it of like, I mean obviously like like police brutality and like this has been around for a long time, but it's like it's weird that he obviously recorded this like months ago at least, and like it's like super relevant now. That joke is so funny. Just I want to watch the whole special. He's like, I don't know, his type of comedy is like
Out there.
right up my alley, and I feel bad that I haven't seen more of his show, but every like thing that I see him in I love.
Yeah, I definitely need to watch it. But now I'm watching Community because I hate myself. So
Hey, let's go.
Hey.
yeah, it is. Speaking of watching things, what are we doing here?
Oh.
Where's Doc?
Do we have a?
We can't watch Doc.
That's not where I was going with that.
What do you? Are you trying to end the episode, Jason?
I just wanted
not
to
even
ask
an
a
hour.
question. I was just like, what is? Are we supposed to talk about what our plan is? Do we have a plan set in stone, or do we just worry about that later?
Do we ever have a plan?
How can we end on a plan if we don't have a plan?
The plan is stay tuned.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, we could talk about it after.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to listen into this part.
Sorry
to
to interrupt the flow.
Some
So close.
some inside baseball shit.
You shouldn't play baseball inside.
Here, I got it. This is
Bars,
where we're gonna come back. All right.
You're supposed to wait till after the podcast.
Oh my god.
No, we're doing it. This is a during podcast.
Inebriated on the podcast. I need you at full mental
Hey,
capacity, Tyler. This is some serious shit we're talking about today.
Yeah, you can't talk about
right,
blackface under the influence.
We already talked about it. I mean, we can talk about it
Can't
again.
talk
I just have one
blackface
sip.
while shit faced.
Bars.
There we go.
And he's not even the one drinking.
This episode's really going off the rails, and Tyler's only had a sip.
Dude.
Yeah, we can't even imagine how those fucking shit. What the fuck is
Hyperscape,
that game
baby.
called?
Go.
I can't.
Hyperspace.
Hyperscape.
Oh my.
Hyperspace. Let's
Can we
go.
I know we already kind of talked about this, but I still think it's weird, and I think it's just kind of like the climate of gaming now. How something like this just completely flew under the radar, had nothing. It was not talked about unless I missed so much shit. But
I don't think so.
And-
I know that the trailer dropped
right,
yesterday. So I think they dropped the trailer, and then I think you had mentioned that you were hearing streamers accidentally let it slip a little bit without really giving it away.
Yeah, it was just like they would say something, like they would be talking to their friends in games and be like, hey, some shit drops on Thursday, right? And somebody would be like, we're not supposed to talk about that, and they're like, oh shit, I thought they announced that already. And I was like, what are they talking about? What is this, Overwatch 2?
Damn.
I don't know.
Overwatch 2?
It's Overwatch. No, I think the whole thing with this and Valorant, and I don't know if they've done it before for beta keys like they're doing now. I know Twitch drops have been a thing for a while, but it's so genius marketing, and I hate it at the same time.
Yeah.
But I think Valorant did it more successfully than this game because there was a hype behind Valorant. It's oh, Riot's doing an FPS, they're releasing it, but you have to watch a streamer play it, and you have to hopefully get a key, and some people just didn't get it, and some people got it within a couple hours. Yeah, exactly. And then it was and then this one dropped, and the keys, at least to see, seem to be way more frequent.
Yeah.
But I feel like they would have done all right announcing this a little bit beforehand. But
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I think the biggest thing that they maybe even learned from the Valorant stream was that the getting keys for Valorant was frankly god awful. That was the most annoying part. And once you got past the barrier, it was fine. But I watched 2 games of this, and I had one, and it was nice to just be able to I already get a little bit of understanding. I haven't had the whole experience spoiled by having to watch hours upon hours of the game. And the fact that they had so many streamers playing it, which just immediately put it to the top. I'm pretty sure it was most viewed, at least yesterday.
Yeah.
And I mean, now pretty much any competitive game, the tone is set by kind of Twitch. So just having that much exposure yesterday, it kept it somewhat ambiguous to where I feel like you're a little more incentivized to go, okay, this game looks weird, but everyone's seeming to like it, so maybe I should check it out. Because I was watching it and I thought, oh, another battle royale, great. And then the concept, I was like, okay, this looks really weird for a battle royale. I feel like this is not going to be that great. But then I started playing and I'm like, okay, I'm really into this.
Yeah, I think maybe another reason, and then when you take into consideration the fact that like however long their development time was just for this beta, you have to consider the fact that they probably knew like, okay, by the time we get this beta out, like battle royales are already on the decline, have been on the decline for a while, and as of right now, I'd say the only one that even is worth mentioning anymore is probably Apex. I guess people still play PUBG, but does anyone fucking talk about it? Nobody talks about fucking Warzone, but people play it. But like, at this point,
Warzone I think is still pretty popular just because it's Call of Duty. It's always gonna kind of hold that. But true, the like kind of talk has
as like
somewhat
specifically
decreased, I think.
like battle royale, so maybe that had like an influence in how they decided to market it. And then if they hadn't started marketing yet and they saw what Valorant did, they could have just been like, all right, we'll just stay silent about it, then we won't talk about it, we'll give some streamers some keys and we'll do the same shit. And I mean, hey, that got me to play it, and it's fun.
And in like 2 weeks, Ubisoft is supposed to have their like summer live stream.
So they'll probably talk about
I would
it.
maybe, well, yeah, I would think maybe by now they're probably trying to finalize the development of that, but they probably have, I would assume maybe a release date gets announced just to see if like I feel like they're using this technical test to see like, okay, can we handle the capacity and can we do some fixes before launch? And then that would affect like their announcement in that live stream to where they can go, okay, we're on track. We'll launch like right now or next week. Or do they like, they would just need to pull it from that live stream and go just not have anything because they feel like they need to work on it more.
Yeah. They also, it's also only a week, right? Like it's not.
Yeah, the test is only for like 6 more days.
Yeah, so they might do better than Valorant in that regard because Valorant just sat in beta for I don't even know how long, and then
until it launched.
But how long was that? It felt like a couple months.
Like a couple months, I think.
Was it a couple?
It
Jeez,
feels like
I don't
it's been a
know.
minute.
I don't know how much time goes by, dude.
Time is just an illusion.
I feel like it was April when the beta started, probably.
Sounds right. We were already
So
in
June, July. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, and then that kind of just I don't know. I feel like when it actually dropped, nobody was actually excited.
Long enough for us to play it to where we were frustrated with it to where we don't play it anymore.
I never got a key, and then
True.
when it came out, I was like, well, I'm not downloading that shit that's gonna go through my fucking registry files or not.
Freaking Riot
You know,
Vanguard.
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't thought about that.
I'm a battle eye kind of guy.
So again, without mentioning what I actually do, my job involves me being by myself all day. It's like solitary work. And so all day I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta bring this up during the podcast. This is such a good question to ask. And let me tell you, I remember 0 of them.
Damn.
And it's super annoying. No, I have some good
Why
questions
didn't
sometimes.
you
I
write
swear.
them down on like your phone in like a note?
I should. Well, I don't keep my phone on me while I'm like doing
You
the
don't keep
work,
that thing on
and
you?
like
You don't listen to
no.
music?
No.
Are you allowed to?
They want me to be aware of my surroundings while I'm.
That makes
That makes
what? That like
somewhat
makes
sense.
sense, but at
Yeah.
the same time, it's like, bruh.
I'm allowed to listen to music, but with like one earbud in, and it has to be wireless for some reason. I don't know.
because yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to buy wireless headphones, and I don't like earbuds, so I just don't bother.
Get some
I mean, I
AirPods.
listen to music in the truck when I drive, but no, fuck AirPods. I don't have an iPhone.
You don't need
Get an iPhone.
earbuds.
Get one, bro.
Wireless
Bro, just go up
earbuds.
to
Oh, just
Five
get
Below
it.
and get some.
Yo, just get some Raycons
God.
E25.
Just get some Raycons.
The new everyday. Sorry.
Hey, stop. Hey, we're not gonna talk about them until we get
Hey,
paid.
yeah, dude, I'm sure Ray J has us on the list already.
Thanks, Ray J.
Thanks, Ray J. Ray J's here,
Thanks, Ray
guys.
J. It's him. So very special guest on the podcast today.
Oh yeah, I think we're done.
Are we? It seems so early. We can be done though.
I mean,
you got any questions for us, Tyler?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I
yeah,
was
we
gonna
don't
say,
have to be
got
done. Tyler had some. I feel like I had a question today too, and I was like, I could ask that, and then I was just like, no. So, sorry.
Dude. All right.
I got one.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
just came up with something.
Oh man.
Go
Just
for it.
something.
Yeah, please.
All right. This is so lame, but what's the best movie you've watched in quarantine? That you hadn't. Let's go with that you hadn't seen before. Yeah, something new that because of quarantine you watched.
I don't even know if
We
I
all
watched
watched Under the Skin together, so.
Shut
Jeez.
up.
Fuck. I wish I honestly like haven't been watching like a lot of movies, but I'll change your question and just like say general content. Of like I started watching Drew Gooden on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
And
Nice.
he's very entertaining.
That's great.
He has like a 48-minute long video called Vine Where Are They Now? And that's probably like one of my favorite things that I've watched in quarantine. Brownie, come here. Sorry. Stupid dog.
Jesus.
But yeah, it's like super interesting. It's like almost like a documentary, but it's mostly just like a talking head video of him just like talking about how he came from Vine and stuff like that. It's pretty good.
He
That's
is a
good.
funny guy.
Frank. Funny fellow.
He's a quirky dude. There are people
Quirky.
shooting fireworks
Who else?
outside my window, by the way. So if that gets picked up, it's not gunshots. Hopefully.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've got a couple answers, I suppose. I watched.
Y'all really want to butcher my question, don't y'all?
I'm
just kidding.
I'm thinking.
Um,
I've seen a lot.
I've seen. I saw Baby Driver. Very early. I
nice.
forgot I even watched it during quarantine. That was a great movie. And then, I guess you can also consider it a movie. It was a. I think we talked about this in an earlier episode, but it was a 6-part documentary on the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
That John Boy made.
John Boy.
Yeah,
Our boy.
our boy John.
I like to think he's our friend.
Oh, he got off topic, but he got engaged the other day. So good for John Boy.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to John Boy. But yeah, that was a really good movie as well that Logan and I watched together. So yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I honestly haven't really watched a whole lot of movies during quarantine. I've rewatched Star Wars several
Yeah,
times.
I did that. I remember that.
What else did I mean, I rewatched Tropic Thunder. We already talked about that a little bit. And honestly, Under the Skin was one of the only movies that new movies that I've seen. But
Hated it.
no, I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty good. Something that I watched was that it's called like 13th by Ava DuVernay.
Oh yeah, the
I
documentary.
watched that.
Oh, the documentary?
Yeah, it's a documentary. It's very good and informative. I would say of like all of the things that I've seen, that's probably been the best because it was like probably the highest quality and like the most informative and I guess just like relevant to what's going on right now.
Mm.
I feel like I haven't watched a lot of movies either. I can't remember most of the stuff.
Nick's
I've
like,
watched.
you guys are ruining my question. I don't have
No,
an
no.
answer.
I did watch a movie. My answer would probably be Drive.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah, I finally watched that the other day, and I was like, I see why it didn't really get as much like attention when it came out, but I thought it
Yeah.
was like very, very interesting and engaging for what it was.
I actually like recently saw it, and by recently, it was still in quarantine. It was a couple months ago. I saw it, and I don't know. It still holds up. It's a nice little flick.
It feels very vignette.
It does. It's very. I don't know. Actually, Nicholas Winding Refn, who directed the movie, has a show on Amazon that's supposed to be really good. Out of his movies, I like Drive the most. There's one called Neon Demon that's about like a model trying to make it, and that one's kind of a little too out there. Kind of takes itself a little too seriously. But
What's
Drive
the
is
show
really
on
good.
Amazon?
You know, I don't know.
Is it new?
I think.
Is it that too old to die? No, that's not it. I'm trying to look it up. The other piece of content that I watched that stood out was Waco on Netflix.
Nice.
Wacko.
So I need to watch that.
Okay.
That was very intense and very well done. Which, I mean, Michael Shannon's in it, so
Michael Shannon.
you know it's gonna be good.
I think I've only watched. I haven't really watched much of anything in quarantine. I literally just went through my Netflix history, and so I've watched Community. Then before that,
Nice.
I watched Under the Skin when we watched that last week, and then before that, the last thing I watched was the Castlevania series in like early March, which was before quarantine started. It was like the week before quarantine started, I'm pretty sure. When I finished that, so like, even if that was a movie, that doesn't count. So,
I keep trying to convince
Such a good
myself to watch
show.
that.
it's so
It's
good.
so
If Logan could
good.
watch it, you could definitely watch it.
Yeah,
Damn.
It's
really
one
good.
of
True.
it's one of my favorite shows just in general that I've seen in a long time. It's really good. But
I feel like I've been rewatching movies more than watching
Same.
new stuff,
Watching
and that's why
movies,
like
yeah.
this week I was like trying to commit myself to watch new stuff, which is why I watched Drive. But I've watched series. Like I also watched Chernobyl. That was
Oh,
really good.
chef's kiss.
I started Hunter x Hunter, and I'm really liking
Ooh,
it so far.
baby.
Nice.
I'm in the second season, and like, I don't know if anyone, I don't know
Spoilers.
who's seen it and who hasn't.
I
Big
haven't-
spoilers.
I haven't seen it, and
But,
probably
like,
eventually.
The first season happens, and then
And
there's
then
like
the second season happened.
no.
Bro.
And then in the second season,
Crazy.
in the second season, they just introduced this new concept that apparently like
Yeah.
everything in the show had to do with.
Uh-huh.
Then you didn't know, and I was just like, why? Can they do this? Can they just say like, oh yeah, you know, all the stuff that was like didn't really need an explanation in the first season? Yeah, it's actually because of this thing. And I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I still like the show, but that like bothered me a little bit of just like, because the entire second season is about this thing, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, Logan.
I
but
do.
like, I'm just like, oh, okay. But it's
It's
very good.
It's very
It's very-
unnecessary.
Yeah, it's such like it leans into, I mean, every fucking shonen anime does, but it's like so full of like anime tropes, but I still really like it.
Yeah.
Okay, you weeb.
I want the My Hero Academy to come out so I can see it.
Hey,
The second one, I
the
mean.
second one is so fire.
Oh shit, yeah, I haven't seen the second one. I need to.
Apparently, the Blu-ray and DVD are hitting shelves in Japan on July 15th.
Hey.
So it's still gonna be a while till we.
probably gonna be. I would say fall.
Yeah,
Sounds about right. Then
I cry.
it's really good. I would happily rewatch that again. But
Rewatch it, if you will.
what? Oh,
Never mind.
Boo. I guess I can't say I would
Boo.
rewatch it again because I've only seen it once. Yeah,
Oh.
I didn't mean to. Whatever.
You fool.
Words are hard. It's okay.
Yeah.
Words are hard.
Well, that was my question. That's all I had.
That's a good question. Thank you, Nick.
Nice.
Oh, fucking hated it.
All right.
Wow.
All right. Here, this one might be quick.
Might.
But you guys know my my obsession of like maybe you're unfamiliar, but I sometimes I think about like who I could beat in a fight,
Oh my god.
specifically out of out of my
God.
friends.
This again.
Okay, so
I just want a number So we'll say out of the 6 of us who are like actively participating in the podcast, you don't have to say who, but how many of them do you think you could beat in a fight? I'm gonna go with 4.
4.
That number's
Four
way
of
too high.
us in a fight.
It's gonna be a negative.
Not at the
for
same
me.
time.
I'd say 2 for you.
You think 2?
Damn.
Who are the 2 people you think I could take in
just
a
said
fight?
not to say
You
names.
said all the names.
I'm not doing this.
No,
I'm
I
not
don't
doing.
care.
I'm not.
I was
fucking
gonna say
doing
who the
this because the
fourth
last
one
time anyone did some stupid shit like this, it was just uncomfortable and not fun. I'm not doing
Look,
this.
all I'm saying
Fucking
Fine, we don't have to
stupid.
do this.
5. I'm
Huh?
saying 5.
5?
5.
You could beat all
5?
5 of us in a fight.
Actually, no, 4. Sorry.
4.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
man.
just read something.
I think Jared's got your number, so Tyler, it's okay. Just sit down.
Damn.
Who's
That's-
the one that you
that's
don't
fine,
want
bad
to beat
question.
up,
It's in his
Steven?
blood.
I'm halfway done with my beer, bro. It's
God, how are you gonna play hyper
Got
skate?
half a beer and you're good.
I'm
Half the
just
beer and he
kidding,
can just
no.
fight
You
anyone
guys
he
know
wants. Yeah.
I
This guy's
I
a
would have
drunk.
asked this question.
Yeah, we know.
I would ask this question.
You would lose a
Free
fight
beer.
against your beer. Clearly already. Already losing that fight, so that tells me everything that I
Wait,
need
that
to know.
depends. That depends. What kind of beer is it?
It's a Lone Star.
Damn.
God.
Oh my God.
God, we're not in college anymore, Tyler. You can drink good beer.
Chill. It's cheap.
Hey, it's not like he's going to a party.
Eeh.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
I kind of thought about that the other day. Of like, I was like, it'll be interesting to like maybe start seeing like people start partying again when quarantine ends. And then I was like, why would I go there though? Like, I'm technically like in the professional world and
We're adults.
am now an adult. Like, why would I go party with
Adults
Like,
have parties.
college kids?
Fuck.
I mean, yeah, adult parties, but like most of the people that I know that would be throwing a party would still be in college, and I just obviously I already just stand there at parties, but it would just be exacerbated even more of like this feels very very cringy.
Y'all got your vaccines?
Everyone knows all the really cool dudes continue to go to college parties after they graduate. That's who you want to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
And drink
Yeah,
and
that's
talk
the
to college age
fucking-
girls
Yeah.
and totally aren't creepy or anything like that.
Especially freshmen.
Yeah.
Why don't you just post their names on the podcast? Not the girls, the creepy people. Just clarify that. It's-
The stories
Steven.
we could tell.
no, Steven.
Fuck no.
Steven
There's that
always
creepy
hitting
guy in the corner on his phone not drinking.
Not talking to anyone.
on- Who are those creepy guys in the kitchen?
Yeah.
They're just
Drinking
Laughing.
the mixers with no alcohol.
They're just laughing.
Menacingly.
Honestly.
Steven's fucking move at parties was just drinking all the mixers.
And if you would buy like just my own mixers just that I could drink, and I
Here's your
thoroughly
Dr.
appreciate
Pepper,
that.
Steven.
Here's your Mountain Dew. I hate that was my
Nice.
brand for so many years. I fucking hated it.
My brand.
My
Mountain
brand.
Dew Poppy.
Shut up.
New pop.
Shut up.
Mountain
No,
Dew
that's a good ad,
Poppy.
bro. That's a good ad. That's hilarious.
God.
Oh, shit.
I am grown now. I'm an adult. I have moved on past that.
Yeah.
I have moved on past
Now he can buy all the Mountain Dew he wants himself.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Now he's yerba mate Poppy.
Damn.
The fuck is a yerba mate?
It's like caffeinated tea.
It's like a tea.
It's
Yeah.
very good.
Oh.
Bacon lettuce mate.
I don't think we're allowed to say anything else after that.
All right. Podcast over. Catch
That
y'all
was,
next week.
Yeah, no. We're about at that time.
I guess next week's
Um,
a surprise. Because we don't have
Yeah.
a
We'll
person.
leave it ambiguous. So next week will be like a season
Well-
finale.
I mean,
No?
not like.
What?
Here,
Oh,
here's the thing.
Kombucha girl.
We
Yeah.
kind of have to like, if we're gonna do what we're gonna do, we have to prep listeners for it.
the people.
Kind
I
of.
think we could. All right.
It's.
I mean, this is
I don't think we have to do that
Yeah.
now.
We can send it
I
to
guess.
you.
We can send it to.
okay.
Yeah. Send a
You
tweet.
don't need to do that. Just DM Edward.
I mean, you can always just record like a solo thing of like,
Yeah,
Whatever.
we'll preface it.
It's a
If we end up
surprise.
doing the thing that we do, we'll preface it in that video that you may. It's not
here's the
preparation
surprise
that
for
you'll
this
need,
episode
but
though. This was the season
yeah.
2 finale.
This
We
Wait.
did.
Thanks
it.
for
6 seasons
listening.
in a movie, guys.
This 6
6
seasons.
seasons in a movie.
Yeah.
So,
Next season coming to audio platforms
in 2 weeks.
Next season coming to
Yeah,
Yahoo
yeah.
streaming.
Yeah.
God.
It was called Yahoo Screen.
Yahoo Screen.
I don't even know if that still exists.
It definitely does not.
Yahoo screaming.
They learned from Community. We need to kill that quick.
We need to get canceled.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Well, bye mom, bye Edward.
thanks
Bye
for
Tyler's
listening.
mom. Bye
Oh,
Edward.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We sound like we're not coming back.
Here's the thing.
Thanks for everything,
We
guys.
have bad intros. This is the worst outro we've had.
This is the worst outro. Definitely.
Follow us on Twitter.
This is the darkest outro.
Thank you.
Like,
Darkest
comment,
outro.
and subscribe.
Subscrizzle.
Let's roll for the outro.
Ring the bell.
It's a 2. All right.
All right,
See
bye.
you in 2 weeks.
See you next season, guys.